Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, I'm Sally.
I'm Erin. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Come on
you.
in. Have a seat here. So, Sally, how are you feeling today?
Well, I'm a little nervous. I haven't really ever gone to a counselor before, and a friend of mine recommended you, and so I thought, well, I'm just really worried about my daughter, and I've never done this before, so I'm a little uneasy and just not sure what to expect.
A little nervous, maybe. Yeah. Well, that is completely understandable, Sally. Just want to start out with letting you know that anything that is said between you and me here in this room is confidential, unless I feel a sense that you or anyone else might be in some danger, immediate danger, and then I would have to address that with someone. But I do want to let you know anything that is said is completely confidential between me and you.
Well, I appreciate that, and I don't think anyone's in danger. I'm just trying to figure out what role I need to play. My daughter is, I think she's wanting a divorce from her husband. I'm kind of trying to figure all that out. I'm just not sure what I need to do, and what that means for me, and just the ramifications. She's got a little girl, and so I just don't know how that's going to spin out for me. And so I'm just trying to think ahead and be proactive and maybe be able to help her. Just by me being more confident in kind of what to expect. So that's just kind of where I am.
Okay. Well, Sally, do you mind if I take some notes?
No, that's fine. That's fine.
So, what was your daughter's name again? Remind me.
Molly.
Molly. Okay. And you said she has a daughter.
Yes, she has a little girl named Adeline.
Adeline. Oh, I love that name. And how old is Adeline?
Adeline is 3 years old.
3 years. Okay. And has Molly discussed this divorce with you? Is it in the works, or?
It's hard to say because probably for the past year she's come to me at several different places and talked to me kind of, in confidentiality about things going on with her husband and things she's been worried about, and several things. One time it was about the drinking, and one time it was about thinking that maybe he was having an affair, and sometimes she's come to me a couple of times just about him being, angry and, just being real kind of verbally abusive. And so just over the course of the last year, I've just noticed several conversations that we've had, about these different scenarios. So.
Okay. And how does this make you feel, knowing this is your daughter and how she's going through all of this?
Well, it's hard not to, want to do something, either tell her to leave or, even go have my own conversation with her husband. But I know that, it's their marriage, they have to figure it out. But it's very hard and it's very frustrating. And I think about, my little granddaughter, and, I just don't want anything to happen. And so it's hard for me to figure out what my role should be and how I should help her. And so I've just, really been struggling with that. And recently she came to me, and it really made me worry about, the anger and the drinking and kind of all of that combined, and becoming, what if he becomes more than verbally abusive? And, what if it's, he just drinks too much one night or something. I'm just trying to think of the safety of my daughter, my granddaughter, but I don't know what I can do. I don't know how I can help.
Can you give me a little bit of background of how your family system was, of when Molly was growing up, and maybe your relationship with your husband?
Well, things were really good for a while. I would think that Molly would think her childhood was normal, a lot like a lot of other people. We went on vacations, we did a lot of stuff together, had a lot of fun. Molly's an only child, and so, family, we did a lot of family stuff together. But as she got a little bit older, maybe junior high school, things started to get a little bit rough with my husband and myself. Actually, my ex-husband. We eventually divorced. Some of the same things that I see happening in her marriage now, just more drinking, less involved with the family. I think he was not happy with his job, and we just kind of just distanced ourselves from each other. as Molly got older and eventually moved off to college, then there wasn't that kind of unifying factor of her and the family. So eventually he had an affair, and so we got divorced, and so that's kind of the background that we have.
Okay. So Sally, kind of express to me your feelings on how you think Molly's relationship was with her father.
Early on it was great. They hung out together, and he always made time for her. They had like daddy-daughter days, and it was great growing up. I think when around middle school, junior high age, 11, 12, 13, it kind of began to distance. She wasn't involved in sports, and, I guess for a man, maybe that's important. And she did all the dance stuff and the cheerleading stuff, and he would go to her games, but, I guess didn't maybe know how to relate, and so there was a little bit. And she got involved with school, and then boys came along, and all the activities when she got in high school, and so and I guess in the middle of all of that, he was kind of over here doing his thing that I didn't even know about, and so I think their relationship kind of distanced a little bit. But it was very healthy in the beginning. They were close, and you would think everything would be fine. I think she still feels close to her father. They still interact, even though we're divorced. He's involved in her life, but I don't know the extent of that because it's not in my presence now.
Okay. So do you feel after high school, when she started becoming more independent, do you think maybe that relationship kind of faded a little bit, even though they've still stayed in contact?
Probably because he was, I think, depressed and trying to figure out a new job, and we were in the middle of a divorce, and so I think he was probably consumed with himself and maybe didn't pay her attention and stuff. So I don't know, maybe Molly looked for that in someone else, and maybe she married the wrong person. I don't know.
So Sally, we've talked about Molly's relationship with her father. Go ahead and kind of tell me your perspective on your relationship between you and Molly.
Well, I would say the same thing. When she was little, we were very, very close. Typical mom and daughter. We did all kinds of stuff together, and we played princess and Barbies, and I was very interactive with her. I wasn't a stay-at-home mom. I was a teacher, and so I had the summers off, and so we always spent time together. I had a fairly flexible schedule in terms of when I could pick her up from daycare, and so we spent a lot of time together. And my husband was working or went out of town. It was me and her, so we were very, very, very close growing up. And then when the middle school years started, I guess probably I was stressed, trying not to let her know because things with my husband were not going well. And so you try to, protect them or shield them from that. And so I was probably really stressed and probably didn't pay attention as much as I should have. And I think she was kind of getting into some trouble, and so I would overreact, or I would yell or scream or shout, and I guess she probably sensed things were going on, and her dad was not around as much, and so it just created some problems for me and Molly. And as she got into high school, it got worse because I felt like I was doing it all on my own. My husband and I had separated, and she was kind of going back and forth, and so our relationship became very, very, very strained. Now, since the granddaughter, Adam, was born, we've restored that a little bit, but you can tell, we've never gone back and talked about it. It's kind of like swept under the carpet kind of deal. And so, there's still a sense of a strain there, but we both seem to be working hard to try to, for the sake of Adeline, figure out how to make it work. But sometimes I can tell she gets frustrated with me, or, she doesn't want to initially hear what I think about how to raise a kid, or, my advice, those kinds of things.
So she never wants to get your advice on things, and...
Well, she'll ask for it, but then when I start telling her, then she's like, thinks it's silly or stupid, or, she's read all these books, or things are different now. They have all kinds of monitors in their rooms and all kinds of safety equipment, and so things are different. I get that, but you know, the basic stuff, you know, when you've done it, you've done it, you've lived it. But sometimes she listens to that, and sometimes she
because
doesn't.
you have that experience.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like, you know, Molly is just really struggling with maybe the trust piece and knowing you've been through this, but she doesn't want to hear it. So maybe part of one of the things we can work on first is trying to mend that relationship with you and Molly and see where that can go. It sounds like she doesn't want to see what you've been through with your husband because she doesn't want to face the unreality of what she may be going through.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. That she maybe sees our scenario living out in her marriage, and she certainly doesn't want that, because it did get ugly for a while, and I'm sure that affected her, and we probably never talked about it. So, what are some things that you think I could do to...
Well, I think we've made some very good progress today. I've learned a lot about the family system and the background, and you shared a lot with me about Molly and her relationship with her father, and you've shared a lot about your relationship with Molly. So I think where we can go from here is maybe make a plan of, you know, meeting with Molly and seeing how we can mend that relationship, and maybe ways, proactive ways to approach it and things to say. That way she doesn't get irritated, or and maybe later on down the road, eventually I can meet with Molly myself to maybe get some help on her end so that we can both fix the relationship together.
That would be good. That would be helpful to me, because I don't want to mess it up, and I don't want her marriage to fall apart, because I know what that's like. But I also don't want her to be in an unsafe situation or things to get worse.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm not sure how to help because of this strain in our relationship, and whether she'd be open to that. So, I mean, anything that you can help me with, or we can help Molly with, that's really why I'm here. Because I want to be able to I don't know, try to help fix it if I can.
Well, Sally, let's meet again,
Okay.
and we can go over a plan and where we want to go in our sessions from here of how to build that relationship back up. Does that sound good to you?
That sounds great. I would appreciate that.
Well, I'm very glad you came in to talk to me today.
Well, it was nice to have met you.
It was nice to meet you also.
I look forward to meeting with you again.